to be in your living room. We are live Thursday morning. This morning is the 23rd of February. Whoa, where did that go? I'm sure you saw on the wide shot that we have something literally cooking in the corner of our studio. And that is our fourth segment. The Asia Pacific Cultural Center is here to talk about the taste of Asia. And in our fabulous fourth segment, we'll be learning about that and then walking over to the corner. And gosh, as Mark said, I wish we had smell-o-vision, because you should smell how it smells here in the studio. Yeah, that's right. We also will have Tacoma Public Library will be on the comfy couch to talk about one of their latest projects, and then Tacoma Musical Playhouse is here to talk about one of the things that they do best, and that is children's education and family theater. So we'll be talking about that. And then with me right now, speaking of the wide shot, two individuals who make beautiful music together. I'm talking about the Northwest Sinfonietta, one of my favorite bodies of music here in Tacoma. Please join me in welcoming back Karen Chu. You are the executive director of Northwest Sinfonietta and my neighbor on Vashon. Welcome back to Cityline.
Thank you so much. It's always nice to talk about Northwest Sinfonietta with you.
Yes, it is. And I love seeing you, and it's just so great that you are so involved on both sides of the pond here, as we say. You brought with you this dazzling, handsome, intelligent young man who claims he's 100% Scottish, somewhat. Auric McDavid, you are the new principal bassoonist for Northwest Sinfonietta.
That's
Welcome
right.
to Cityline.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, we need some sock cam. Show us those socks, Cheryl.
Yes.
He came. Look. Okay, tell us what music, what piece of music is this?
So it's Beethoven's For Elise on the sock. Not necessarily a fan of the piece, but it's the representation of the music there.
Well,
really
and I
counts.
love that, because now you've proven to us that you can read music before we even get to see
Yes.
what you brought with you. So we're going to get to that in just a second. But Karen, first off, tell us about a little bit about Northwest Sinfonietta for somebody who's like, Northwest what? Mm-hmm. And they don't even know that we have a Sinfonietta. What do you say to them? Hey.
Well, Sinfonietta is, it's an Italian word. So
It is.
Ietta at the end of anything means little. So we are a little symphony. We're a chamber orchestra, which means that we have the different pieces of a symphony orchestra. We have a lot of strings and woodwinds and some brass and percussion. But we're much smaller than a symphony orchestra. We pack a punch. We make a lot of noise, but we can fit into smaller spaces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things that Northwest Sinfonietta, the sound that they get, that I notice is different from Tacoma Symphony or Tacoma Concert Band, is they have a very mystical, ethereal sound about them. And I know it's not from watching all kinds of Excalibur movies. It's because of the way the instruments come together. Which leads me, Auric, to my next question about you. How long have you been with Northwest Sinfonietta? Because you couldn't be more than 10 years old right now.
Yeah, so don't worry, I get called babyface all the time. No, I've been with them this is my first season. I auditioned June of last year, and I won the principal seat. And so, I started with them. First concert was in October.
Well, congratulations,
Thanks.
my goodness. So what's been the most surprising thing about playing with Northwest Sinfonietta in terms of what you thought it was going to be as you were leading up to the audition, and now that you have this position? What is it that surprises you?
I think what surprised me the most is just how dynamic and almost sort of powerful and versatile the ensemble is, considering that it's not a full-size symphony orchestra. There's usually only 2 or 1 wind player per part, and I think strings are only like 6 first violins, 3 cellos, 2 basses. And so I'm just blown away by the level of musicianship that the group has to be able to play and sound like a bigger ensemble.
Absolutely. And I want to, just on a side note before you get to show us this beautiful instrument, Karen, you also play in the Sinfonietta in addition to being the executive director. I want to see some hats flap off and on when you're in that next concert that takes off the glasses and puts on the hat. So when you speak about the Sinfonietta, you speak about it full 180 as executive director, but also as somebody who plays an instrument. And what do you play?
That's right. I play violin with the group. I've been, you like the violin.
I love the violin. It's my jam.
Yeah. So I've been playing with the group since 2012.
Wow.
So just over 10 years.
I love that.
So I am older than 10 years old.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Maybe 11. So you're not asking them to do anything that you yourself are not learning alongside them in that very intimate group.
That's true.
Yeah.
You do get to know the group inside and out.
So, Arik, let's talk about this instrument. I'm going to be quiet for as long as I need to be, and you're going to introduce us to this instrument. What is it? What does it sound like? And what are these little dart-looking things you've got on the coffee table?
Yeah, let's start with that,
Let's do this.
Yeah, so this is what's known as a reed. I have a bunch here in this little case, and I actually hand make all of these. Most bassoonists and oboists as well, double reed players, tend to make their own reeds because it's cheaper and you can sort of craft it the way you want it to be, you want it to play. This is a double reed, so it has basically two blades to it that vibrate against each other to create the sound, as opposed to a single reed. So it sounds like this when it's not on the instrument.
Okay. Beautiful, melodious to my ears.
You know, the worse it sounds, the better it actually plays. That's actually
Okay.
But when you put it on the instrument, it'll sound something like this.
Oh, look at you. Wow. Okay, I'm waiting for glitter to come out of both ends.
Yeah.
That is incredible. You can feel that in your chest.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was drawn to this instrument is I got the low frequencies. It's basically the equivalent of a cello, but in wind instrument form. Same range and everything. So yeah, it has a pretty large range for a wind instrument. It's 3.5 octaves.
Okay.
So the lowest note is really,
Wow.
yeah, deep and low. And then the highest note is like way up there. So
that is incredible. Okay, so give us, you said it's got 3 octaves. Is that a lot of octaves for this kind of instrument? Like how many octaves does a violin have, Karen?
Oh.
okay, well,
Violin has a lot.
Okay.
strings are different.
Strings are different. Good to know.
So I'm also a saxophone player. I played saxophone first, actually. And saxophone only has about less than 3 octaves. It's like 2.5 octaves. So this is 1 full octave greater than that.
Okay.
And I feel like for most wind instruments, about 2.5 octaves is sort of the standard.
Okay. So you were how old when you first thought about playing a musical instrument for all of our young people who are watching?
Oh, so it was when I was in 5th grade and, they had all the students pick the band instruments they wanted to play. And funnily enough, I picked the alto saxophone just because I had seen it in a Curious George episode, but I'd never seen one in real life. And so I was like, why not?
Oh, I love that. Curious George and the Man with the Yellow Hat. Yeah. Everything comes back to children's literature in life. I'm convinced of this. So you saw that there. So then you went right into saxophone. Now, I have friends that play saxophone. I have friends whose children play saxophone. And I don't know if there's a scale for which one is the more painful to hear when you're learning in the house. Which one do you think it is? I mean, is it a bassoon or is it a saxophone?
Well, considering the tones of the bassoon are much lower, I feel like saxophone's probably going to be a little more annoying.
One of those in the ear things?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So obviously you were involved in a school band. Your family came to concerts. When did you switch over to bassoon and say, oh, I'm home?
So I was a freshman in high school. Okay. And I remember really wanting to be a part of my high school's symphony orchestra.
Yes.
Saxophones are actually not in orchestras.
Right.
For whatever reasons, that's just the standard. And so I felt like I was missing out. And I originally wanted to pick up the cello. And when I told my mom this, she had some doubts. So she asked a friend of hers who happened to be a bassoon player, and he suggested I try the bassoon because it's the same sound, similar sound to a cello, but it's a wind instrument, so I would have the skills already that I developed through saxophone playing.
Okay, we love that person who recommended that.
Thank you, Andrew.
Because I used to be in a carpool, and I used to have, and again, it's not a cello, but it was a grandfather bass in one of the students in our carpool. And let me tell you something, I got very creative with how I got that in my car.
Oh yeah.
Picking up from school and then putting all the children around it. It's quite the beast like this is. Would you play something for us and tell us what it is?
Sure, yeah. I'll play a little excerpt. This is probably where you know bassoon from, if you know bassoon at all.
Okay.
This is the Sorcerer's Apprentice,
Yes.
which many people know from Disney's, Fantasia.
Okay. Yeah, boy, that was
you.
good. I could just see Mickey Mouse jumping down the stairs in the water and the broom and everything else. Impressive, impressive indeed. Okay, so Missy, let's talk about, you have some concerts coming up, and I'm going to definitely want to see this young man front and center. Tell us about what we can expect early March.
Okay, so March 4th and 5th,
Yep.
we are giving a full orchestra concert called Fate Now Conquers. So you will see Eric there. And it's a wonderful concert. We have Beethoven's First Symphony on it. We have an opening piece by this hot young composer. He's turned the classical music world on its head. His name is Carlos Simon. And he wrote this opening piece called Fate Now Conquers.
Ooh.
That was inspired by Beethoven's journaling about the unpredictability of fate and grappling with that. So we open with that and we close with Beethoven.
Nice.
And then we have two violin soloists.
Be still, my heart.
We have the fabulous Melissa White coming. She is a founding member of the Harlem String Quartet, and she's a fabulous soloist in her own right. She's playing the first violin concerto of Florence Price, who was the first recognized female Black composer of symphonic music.
Right.
So her works really got lost in time and have been rediscovered and nurtured back to health.
Yes.
And published, and Melissa is a wonderful advocate of those pieces of Florence Price. So she's going to perform, and we have a young artist, the winner of our youth concerto competition, going to play the first movement of Mozart's Fourth Violin Concerto.
Oh, I love this. I love this. So last minute or so, I want to get what you're looking forward to, Eric, in this concert. And actually, is this your premiere concert as the principal bassoonist?
No, that was in October.
Okay.
That was a...
So this is a command performance coming back out again.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. I'm probably looking forward to the Price concerto the most.
Yes.
I first played her when I was studying at the University of Puget Sound, and I just fell in love with her music. She's just so American and original, and I feel like she just needs to be played more, and luckily she is now that her works have been rediscovered, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, I love that. How do we get tickets?
Visit our website, nwsinfonietta.org.
Yeah.
And follow the links, and
So-
we'll see you there.
Sorry, I interrupted you there. Tell us about some thank yous, because nobody does this alone. So you have about 10 seconds to blurt those thank yous out.
Okay, our concert sponsor, Applebaum Violin Shop. Thank you so much to them. And also the sponsor of our youth concerto competition is the Ben Fagan Music Opportunity Fund. And of course, Tacoma Creates
Oh, I
is
love
making
that.
such an impact.
Thank you both for making our lives so beautiful and providing just a really interesting soundtrack that helps us take a break and find that hope again. And I'm so grateful for you both for being here today.
Thank you for having
you.
us on.
You're welcome. When we come back, Tacoma Musical Playhouse will be on the comfy couch. You don't want to miss that.